Yo, what it do, brothers? You're now tuned in all that R.A.R.A with your Hebrew brother, Milo Judah. What's going on, brothers? So, brothers, there is a big difference between a wife and what the scriptures would call a concubine, or in this society, what would be known as a girlfriend. And a lot of people that are into the Bible will state that there is no term for girlfriend in the Bible. And if you're just reading the scriptures, that is true. But the term concubine, it means a paramour. And a paramour is a lover, or what you would call a girlfriend. Right? But what you see in the scriptures is there is a difference between a wife and a concubine. And the difference is the concubine, for whatever reason, is not a wife material woman. But yet she is a woman that can be taken seriously. You can maintain a long-standing relationship with her, but she is not to be made a wife. Like in the Bible, you have the book of 2 Samuel chapter 6 with David dancing and praising the Most High when they had the Ark of the Covenant. And David was dancing in front of all of Israel, and David came out of his shirt, and his wife Michal saw it through the window, and she was upset about it. And when David came home, she caught herself stepping to him and trying to chastise him about his behavior. And of course, David corrected her, and she didn't have any children. But in the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 25, around the 44th verse, you read where Saul, who was the king prior to David, he gave his daughter Michal away to Phalti. Right? And prior to that, you read about Michal in 1 Samuel chapter 18, where she had a love for David. And, once it was told to Saul, it pleased Saul. And Saul wanted to make Michal, David's wife, to be a snare unto David, right? To trip him up, because Saul didn't want to give up his position as king of Israel. Saul had the understanding that the Most High had anointed David to be king over all of Israel. But once a woman becomes another man's wife, how seriously can you really take her? Right? And especially the way that it happened. I mean, she went from David to Phalti. And in 2 Samuel chapter 3, that's when David received her back unto himself. But, I mean, how seriously can you really take her? You may actually like her, may actually have a love for her, think that she's beautiful, intelligent, but at the end of the day, another man has been all up inside of her. Right, so, I mean, David looked at her as his wife. But clearly, the way she stepped to him, he had to correct her and let it be known that I won't deal with you the same way anymore. Right, and of course you have the book of 2 Samuel chapter 16, where Absalom, David's son, he went into David's concubines on top of the roof where everyone could see it. Right, so basically the difference between a wife and a concubine is a wife understands that she is created for one man, and she is going to do what it takes to remain with that one man. As to where a concubine believes, especially in this society, that everything is about them, and that a man is created for them, not that they are created for the man, and that a man is supposed to capitulate to their whims. Right, now you do have good women who have traumatic past. You have good women who have men who honestly didn't appreciate them when they were younger and actually were trying to do right. You know, I do understand that. But you also have women who just ain't shit out here. Never been shit, never gonna be shit. Right? So brothers do have to understand the difference between that and be able to understand nuance, because life is all about nuance. But at the same time, when it comes to dealing with women, you have to be real with yourself, right? And say, okay, you know, this woman is actually a good woman who not deserves, but has earned the right to be a man's wife, to be my wife. As to where you are dealing with one woman, you can say, man, this woman is cool as shit. She's fun as shit. But the way she talks to me sometimes when she gets upset, I'm not marrying no woman like that. The way she talks to her friends, the group of friends that she hangs with, I'm not marrying a woman like that. But the point is, brothers, there is a big difference between a wife and a concubine, right? And we are going to do some real and rare analysis on that, because we are going to get the mindset of it just by street interviews. But with that being said, brothers, let's do it. Let's get it.
If he gave you a guilt-free pass to sleep with anybody in the world, would you use it?
Yeah.
On who?
Zac Efron, Josh Bowman, some celebrity, hot celebrity.
Now, brothers, her man is right here. And she just named 3 guys that she would sleep with, 3 celebrities. Now, what I will say is, and this is man to man, this is me being 100 with you brothers. You brothers would be foolish to think that your wife doesn't find other men attractive. Right? And when I say attractive, I mean physically attractive. But at the same time, the difference between a wife and a concubine is, even if the moment presented itself, your wife would not act on it out of respect for her marriage. Well, first and foremost, out of respect for you. And then out of respect for her marriage. But a concubine will act on the opportunity if it presents itself. Because a concubine does not have the same beliefs and ideologies as a wife, even if she is a beautiful, intelligent woman, a fun woman who actually loves you. But the difference is respect. Respect goes a long way. And a man would much rather be respected than to be loved. A man's man. Right now, a mama's boy would prefer love over respect because he doesn't understand the difference. But a man who has his father in his life, and his father is a man who demands respect with his actions, first and foremost from his family, from his wife and his children, then a boy is going to grow up and do the same thing because he's seen it in the home and he's going to do it the correct way. He's not going to be what people would call toxic masculine in this society. You don't have to be over aggressive, brothers, to get your way in your home. And you can hear your wife out. You can let your wife make her points, even if you disagree with them. You can let her get a full point off. And you could tell her why you disagree with it without being condescending. Right? But at the same time, like I stated, this woman is right in front of her man and rattled off 3 different men that she would sleep with if he gave her a quote-unquote guilt-free pass. What the hell is that? That's a setup question. That is a setup question. And for her to say that, and if you can see it on his face, he has flat out realized that this broad ain't shit. But let's continue.
You turn that down? Mm-mm.
Now, the funny thing is, a lot of brothers, they say things like, oh man, only the so-called black woman would say something like that out of her mouth. No, brothers, it's all races of women in this society. All races of women are taught to embrace being whores. Right now, you have women who are able to break the quote-unquote matrix and see reality for what it is and are able to understand what it is to be a good woman and how that would benefit them in the long run rather than having a quote-unquote hoe phase. But no, brothers, it's not just so-called black women. It's all women in this society. But the thing is, I'm a so-called black man. I focus on the so-called black man, and he should focus on his wife. Right? You should teach your wife. You should show your wife these videos and show her the mindset of, a concubine and why it looks so bad. Right? And the fact that she would ask him, are you turning that down? And the answer for him, you don't know what the hell he gonna say.
Couldn't do it.
All right, what if it was all the way around?
I know what I'm worth. One night with one celebrity doesn't change who I am.
That's right, man. That's right. And this video isn't about monogamy or polygyny, so we're not even going to digress into that. But clearly, they have the understanding that they are in a monogamous relationship, right? So he stated what he felt. No, I would not sleep with a celebrity for one night. I know who I am. I know what I'm worth. But she has the mindset of a concubine, so she would not be able to understand what he is saying or why he is saying it. She understands what he is saying, but not why he's saying it, because she just looks at it as, I'm going to have a night of fun. He's telling her a night of fun isn't worth my relationship with you. She doesn't care about that. She said a guilt-free pass would nix the feeling of feeling guilty. No, if you really love someone and y'all are in a quote-unquote monogamous relationship and you do them dirty, then you should feel that. There should be a sense of guilt there, period.
So you wouldn't use it?
Even
There's
if I
no
gave
point.
it to you?
No, because it sounds like a trap.
Everybody shout with me. Yes, Lord, I agree. Everybody shout with me. Say, yes, Lord, let's go.
Yes, Lord, I agree. That is a trap. Yes, Lord, I believe that is a trap. Why would your wife say that to you? Why would your woman say that to you? Oh, you have a guilt-free pass to go sleep with whoever you want to sleep with. What the hell is on your mind? What you about to do? Definitely a trap. I agree.
If your significant other is willing to give you a one night stand with anybody in the world, it sounds like a trap for your loyalty.
You smart.
You just stuck standing there, but I'm gonna need you to say something, baby. Say something, baby.
Fuck that.
Yeah, so hopefully that young man realizes what he has on his hands, which is a concubine, a fun time, nothing more, nothing less. She may actually love him, but she has zero respect for him. And it showed up right there, right? And he has the mindset of, I wouldn't sleep with a celebrity for one night out of respect for you and my relationship. She doesn't look at him the same, so therefore he should move accordingly. And at the same time, if he does choose to continue with her as his girlfriend and tries to make her a wife, if she steps out on him, he cannot say the red flags were not there, because she flat out told him what she would do if the opportunity presented itself. Fuck a guilt-free pass. If an opportunity presents itself, she's going to take it. But now we are going to segue into a wife and see how they think juxtaposed to a concubine.
What's your age?
I'm 26.
I'm 30.
How long have you been together?
4.5 years.
So let's go ahead and address this before we get into her mindset. The man stated that he's 30 years old. She stated that she's 26 years old and that they've been together for 4.5 years, meaning he was around possibly 21, 25, turning 26, or was already 26, and she was possibly 21, going on 22, or was already 22 years old when they got together, right? Meaning that he's 4 years her senior, or could be 5, depending on the birthdays. He's literally watching her grow from a young woman to a woman, how it's supposed to be. And a lot of times you'll hear women say that a man who's older than a woman has more life experience than her, therefore it's not fair. But a man is supposed to have more life experience than a woman, specifically his woman. Therefore he can lead her and guide her and teach her. But there is a constant conversation going on in this society at the moment, and it's always viewed in a negative lens from a ton of women about a man dealing with a younger woman. Brothers, you are supposed to mold your wife. There is nothing wrong with dealing with a younger woman. And a lot of times, women above the age of 25 years old, when they are single, they carry a lot of baggage with them, right? So therefore, they find it hard to retain a relationship with a man because they have so many expectations, high expectations. They have comparisons from different men, and they try to put everything into one basket and make the man that they are with the perfect man. But no man is perfect, and at the same time, you are supposed to be getting on the man's program. So when a woman has had so many experiences with different men, and she's starting to get older, and she's starting to become bitter and view men from a bitter lens, then she's going to be harder to make a wife. Not saying it's impossible, but it's going to be difficult. There's nothing wrong with dealing with a woman that's younger than you. What I will say is, if you go that route, make sure you treat that woman right, because you don't want to damage her. There are a lot of damaged women out here. There are a lot of women who are damaged goods out here. But let's get back into it.
If your man gave you a guilt-free pass to have fun with any guy in the world, would you take it?
No.
Why not?
I don't think that you can come back from that. I just don't think so. Whether it's today, tomorrow, a year from now, or 10 years from now, I feel like it would affect their relationship a lot.
Did you hear that, brothers? A wife understands her words, her actions can negatively impact her relationship with her man, right? And even her words in the moment where they are at currently can positively or negatively affect their relationship. If she would have said yes, he would have looked at her totally different, especially understanding the fact that they've been together for 4.5 years. But she stood on business. She understood that that action would affect their relationship forever. He will always have that in the back of his head. Any man will always have that in the back of his head. And when a man takes a woman back after she does something like that, then she will lose respect for him. I don't care what anyone says. But at the same time, a wife who genuinely respects and loves her man would never take that opportunity. No matter how mad she gets at him, no matter how upset she gets at him, she would not do that, because not only does she respect him, but she respects herself. She respects the moral compass that she has. She respects the higher being that she believes in. And she understands that that's not what a wife material woman does. Period. So, brothers, this is the type of mindset you should look for. It's not even about how pretty she is or how fine she is. And I get it. You know, every man wants something to look at when he wakes up, but you would rather be respected. You would rather have your children have a good image to look to when they're looking at their mom, right? You want your children's mother to be a wife material mother. Therefore, they can grow up in this world and have a great balance between their father and their mother. And they can understand nuance. They can understand when to be logical. They can understand when to be emotional. Right? But yes, brothers, let's continue.
So if he knew that while you were with him, you were with another man, you don't think he could handle that?
No, I don't think so, and I don't think he should have to handle that.
Now, understand the difference between this clip and the previous clip. She said no with no hesitation. The first girl said yes with no hesitation and rattled off 3 different men. This woman said no and said, I don't think you should have to handle that. Right? Because she understands that men and women are built different. A man is not supposed to handle that. And from a monogamous situation, you are not supposed to put your woman through that either. Right? If you are preaching that you are going to be monogamous, then be monogamous. So therefore, there is a mutual respect between the two. But a wife material woman would never put you through that, brothers. So-called black man, a wife material woman would never put you through that. She wouldn't even think about it. Well, I can't say she wouldn't think about it. You don't know what the hell goes through a woman's head. But the point is, no matter how mad she is, no matter how upset she is with you, she would not put you through that. She may give you the silent treatment, you know. She may deny your calls, may not text you back, whatever the case may be, but she's not going to do that. She will not disrespect you like that. Period.
Would you handle that?
100% not.
But be honest with me.
Yes.
You're saying he couldn't handle that.
Yes.
What if you found out that he cheated on you? No. Would you still stay or would you get up and go?
I would leave.
100%.
I would walk away.
And I want her to leave as well.
I don't know about all that, bro. You talking about you would want her to leave. I don't know about all that. But what I will say is, a woman who is a wife material woman, she would leave before she does that, before she tries to get revenge. I do agree with that, but him talking about I would want her to leave. Come on, bro. You've been with that woman for 4.5 years. You would not want that woman to leave you.
Yeah.
Because something we don't do is we don't respect infidelity.
So do you guys think that men can cheat on women that they love, or that's just a myth?
100% not. Imagine cheating on a person that you say that you love and then going back home to that person sleeping next to them.
Well, what I would say is I agree that that is extremely disrespectful, especially if you are preaching monogamy and you are telling your woman that you are monogamous. If you are not being upfront about who you are as a man, then that is extremely disrespectful and definitely crossing the line. Right? And if she leaves you, you cannot be mad about that. You can be upset, but you have to be understanding. But at the same time, that doesn't necessarily mean a man doesn't love his woman if he does something like that. Because there are things that happen in relationships. And quiet as kept, women do get comfortable. A lot of times it get placed on the man, the blame that is, as to why a relationship went left, or why a man did something in regards to stepping out or dealing with another woman. But a lot of people don't truly like to speak on the negative aspects of the things that women can do in relationships, and it doesn't even have to be cheating. But women can get extremely comfortable. But no, that doesn't mean a man doesn't love his woman. But what I will say is, for a man to take it that far and not be upfront about who he is, that is disrespectful.
That's betrayal.
That's betrayal. That's supposed to be the closest person to you. You know how fake a human being has to be in order to do that? That's what 95% of men are right now in this living age.
Okay, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, brothers, that is all that real and rare analysis. Just understand that when you are looking for a wife, to look for red flags, and understand that they will show themselves. Right now, it's always on you to choose what you are going to do once you see those red flags. And please be understanding that if you continue to move forward with that woman, once those red flags appear, then what happens after that is on you. You cannot play the victim. Right? But understand that, man, a wife material woman respects you. Right? That's what it all boils down to. She respects you. And she sacrifices for you. And she compromises for you. That's it, man. You don't have to overdo it. You don't have to overlook it. You don't have to look for the most beautiful woman and try to make her your wife if the woman is not trying to meet you mutually when you are trying to find a way to court her, when you are showing interest in her. If she is not reciprocating that interest in you, then leave it be, brothers. Right? Go ahead and find a woman that is into you and is willing to get on your program, because that is going to be the woman that you find it easier to make a wife out of, rather than trying to humble these women out here and trying to make them something that they are not raised to be. Most of these women are not raised to be wives. Most of these women in this society are concubines, if that. So please be understanding of that. But that's all that R.A.R.A matters, man. Yo.